Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.
The people that go through Redi's programming and enter into the workforce, often they are among the most reliable employees that the employer has. So they want to come to work. They show up on time. They contribute in a positive fashion. The way in which they contribute may differ slightly from what your expectations are going in, but often they bring something very positive to the workplace.
This episode of Bring Back the Porch brought to you by Bernie Leahy, River Street Realty. Let's get you home. And I'm very pleased to welcome to the porch this morning Josh Hudson from Redi Enterprises. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
I was surprised when I was looking at your website how far back the history of Redi Enterprises goes. All the way back to 1950. A simple little ad in the Medicine Hat News.
Yeah, it is an interesting story. And Redi's been a fixture in the community of Medicine Hat for quite some time now. And it really started out as, it sounds like coming out of the polio epidemic that happened, where a couple of ladies in the community were looking to help out some people who had been affected by polio. And took out an ad in the classified section of the newspaper, just looking for people that were interested in helping. And that's how Redi was born, over 70 years ago.
I think it originally was called the Medicine Hat Rehabilitation Society.
That's correct. Yeah, we have changed names a couple times, and technically, Redi is our legal society's name is much longer. It actually stands for Rehabilitation and Employment for Developing Independence Redi Enterprises Society. Hard to fit on a business card.
That's not going to work on a little business.
Right. So Redi works.
Yes. Yeah, and actually, you have a wonderful story, your full story on the website about all the progressions, the milestones that have happened over the years. Mm-hmm. I did not know that they actually had their first workshop in the old Empress Theater.
That's correct. And an interesting bit, and this is a little bit hard to nail down and establish, but what our research suggests it may have actually been the very first workshop of its kind in Canada. Which is kind of crazy to think about that just here in little old Medicine Hat. There's a lot of innovation going around on with regards to how we help people with disabilities.
The history, it began with a way to help people who were, at the time I think they called them disabled. It's a word that I never have liked.
Yeah.
People who have ability challenges, I think is the better way that I like to frame it. To find employment for them, to put them into the workforce and to give them purpose in their lives.
Absolutely. A few sentences ago, we talked about how part of the Redi's name is actually employment. And a key kind of component of Redi's, I guess, philosophy has been for years that people derive meaning through purpose, right? A previous executive director once told me his perspective on that. When you first introduce yourself to somebody, usually there's two bits of information. It's who are you, like what's your name, and what do you do?
What do you do?
Right. So there's a lot of identity and purpose that comes into being from having a purpose in life. And for most people, the purpose is generally built around employment. So when somebody wants to work to get meaning out of life and has barriers to being employed as, say, your average citizen might experience, then it kind of takes away from their identity a little bit, right? And what purpose they can derive from the experience of being alive.
I think it was an eye-opener, too, for a lot of people that these individuals had abilities.
Absolutely.
And they were good employees.
Yeah, it is. And we've had an employment division now for, I'm going to say, for sure from
my notes here.
Yeah, it's from the 70s or 80s anyway. Actually probably, maybe even earlier, the 70s, I think for sure. Yeah. But so one consistent bit of feedback we get from employers is that the people that go through Redi's programming and enter into the workforce, often they are among the most reliable employees that the employer has. So they want to come to work. They show up on time. They contribute in a positive fashion. the way in which they contribute may differ slightly from what your expectations are going in, but often they bring something very positive to the workplace.
I was going to say, over the years, my interaction with employees at Redi, the thing that sticks in my mind is they always have a smile on their face and they're always very cheerful.
Yeah. And I guess it makes sense. Like let's say you've gone into adulthood and you've never had a chance to have a job, right? For whatever reason. And then all of a sudden you have that ability, you're going to have a lot of appreciation, I think, for that chance that you've been given, and that opportunity to show that you can contribute in a I guess a positive and productive way.
I think in that first workshop in the Empress Theater, two of the occupations, somebody was learning how to repair radios and televisions, and somebody else was a dressmaker.
Yeah, we've had quite a few things that or ways in which the people that we've helped have contributed. We've had workshop type environments where there's been like woodworking. For quite a while, there was pottery, there was hot stamping to make things like pins and other little like hot stamp metal bits. There's been a fair bit. The Redi Bottle Depot, yes. Although so when it originally got started up, and speaking of history, it's also one of the longest standing bottle depots in Alberta. It's the oldest in southern Alberta, south of Calgary, that we're aware of. We opened that in 1977. It started as very much that sheltered workshop type of model where the purpose was to employ people with disabilities. It's kind of evolved past that now into a more just all-around inclusive workspace where there's opportunities for people with disabilities, but we don't employ exclusively people with disabilities. So it's a very integrated environment now, which is, I guess, the modern way of thinking about things nowadays.
That original bottle depot was at 860 Allowance Avenue Southeast, which is the home of Redi. And
Absolutely.
Then you moved into the old Alberta Liquor Control Board.
That's right.
On South Railway Street. So
yeah.
you expanded in probably about 10, 12 years, I think, is the time frame there. Yeah. That's probably my most... I guess the memory I have is working with those people. Every time you take the bottles in, and they're always happy to see you, and I like going there. And you also, though, have expanded, as you said, into other services. You have the shredding now.
Yes. Redi has operated several social enterprise efforts over the years. For a period of about 20 years, from 1997 to 2017, we ran all the recycling for the City of Medicine Hat, like cardboard, paper, plastic, everything. We, for a good period of time, actually probably similar duration, we ran the bus bench advertising for the City of Medicine Hat as well. Presently, we do still have our, we call it secure document destruction business. That's fancy talk for paper shredding. And the clever name once upon a time by somebody with a better marketing mind than mine came up with the name of Shreddy, which is fantastic. It's got the Redi name right in it, and it tells you exactly what we do. So that's a very successful social enterprise that we have as well.
You also operate group homes.
Yes.
And the first one was 1985.
Yeah. I wonder, actually, you've probably got more of the history in front of you than I have memorized, but I think that probably, that probably would. I think I know which one that was, but yes, we have a large, we call it residential supports division, which has a couple of different ways in which we can assist people. Because people, just because they have disabilities, they're not cookie cutter, right? They might require a wide variety of supports to live their life to the best that they can. And that could be anything from 24/7 borderline healthcare, right up into very, very, I guess you might call it loose or very independent supports. They live largely independently, but might need some assistance with, say, making sure they can balance their checkbook, or they need a little bit of help with getting to doctor's appointments or something of that nature. And so we provide a wide range of supports to fill all those needs. Some of those are group home environments, yes.
The head injury program began in 1992, another very important milestone for Redi.
Yeah, that was another innovative one too, which is really interesting in that at the time, that type of program really didn't exist in Alberta. So it was, and I wasn't with Redi at the time, so I can tell you what I've heard anecdotally from how this started up, that really there was just a group of passionate employees that saw a gap here. That because traditionally what Redi's been funded for is to help people with developmental disabilities, right? Essentially, they're born with a disability. There are other types of disabilities out there, and sometimes those are acquired. So brain injury would be one, where through a workplace injury, maybe a recreational activity, maybe other, you've acquired a brain injury, now you need a little bit of support to get your life back on track and do the things that or learn to live with your disability, or moderate the consequences of it, right? Some rehabilitation, for example. So Brain Injury Relearning Services, or BIRS for short, started up around that time, and it's been pretty successful. The work that they've done there has actually been modeled in some cases by Alberta Health Services and reproduced across the province. Really, really interesting story behind BIRS.
Also, Accessible Transport Project began in 1999. I think they called it the Redi Bus.
Yeah, so that really no longer exists as it was, but very probably influential in establishing the accessible transit that we have right now run by the city. Luckily, municipalities now are more or less mandated to provide some form of public transit to the entire population that they serve, including accessible means. That didn't used to be the case. It really relied on supports in the community, or somebody had to step up and do it. So
yeah, and another example of where Redi was a leader.
Yeah, exactly. Redi does have one thing I take a lot of pride in now as the executive director of Redi is looking back over the history and looking at a lot of the innovation that Redi's done that I can't take credit for because I'm pretty new to my job, but it's exciting to think that we have this history of being often the first to tackle a problem that we see, and then even sometimes the government will follow us when the government decides, hey, that's really something that we should be involved in. That's impressive when you can look back on that and say, our organization led this.
If people are driving by on Allowance Avenue past the Redi building, if you look to your right, if you're heading southbound, there's a wonderful mural there.
Yeah.
James Marshall started in 2008.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, we do have a James Marshall mural right on the building, which is pretty cool. That's definitely a kind of a cultural touchstone for a Medicine Hat area, as these James Marshall murals, right? Yeah. I think the building is pretty distinctive with its bright red coloring that we've got on it. There's a big painting of a paper airplane in flight on the side of the building. One thing that probably doesn't appear in your history there, because it never actually ended up happening, but for a period of time, there was plans in place to put this gigantic steel paper airplane on the roof of the building. Yeah, so I think this was in planning in like the 90s or maybe early 2000s, and I'm not sure why it didn't happen. Could be a combination of budget. It does, but it would have been distinctive for sure. I think there was also concerns about a windstorm comes up and launches it off the building into the flats somewhere.
Just like in the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, you're not in Kansas anymore. Yeah. You also began expansion in 2020. To Brooks.
Yes. The 2020s have been an era of growth so far for Redi. And in some cases, it's been uncomfortable growth, I suppose, or bringing us out of our comfort zone, perhaps. The first thing was Brooks. And the timing on it probably couldn't have been worse. In the very tail end of like 2019, early 2020, the government had approached us, and there was an organization doing what the kind of work we do in Brooks, but they were financially failing. They were running into difficulties, and so we had they'd reached out to Redi and said, "Hey, you're nearby. Would you be interested in taking this over?" And our leadership team met, and we hemmed and hawed over it a bit, and eventually said, "Okay, we'll do this." So we learned in January that, this would be the case, and we would take over April 1st, 2020. Now, of course, a month before, everybody maybe remembers what happened in March. I know the date.
We don't speak of that anymore. Yes.
March 13th, 2020 was the lockdown day. So we basically were trying to move into this community, get everything going, hire employees, build relationships, and nobody could see each other. So that was really interesting. We learned a lot about ourselves, I think, but it's been successful. We're still there. We now have a building in Brooks, and it's a great. The community there is really interesting. It's a very diverse community, as a lot of people are aware, but they also have a lot of people willing to work on the community in Brooks, right? A lot of engagement.
Spirit.
Yeah. And it's an exciting place from that standpoint. The amount of people that are willing to tackle issues and work on them there is impressive.
And you've spread your wings even further now in southern Alberta. Let's pause for a moment so we can share some exciting news. We're proud to announce that our work here at Bring Back the Porch is getting noticed. From October to the end of January, our videos and reels viewed more than 1 million times. Some of those viewers could be your customers, so sponsoring Bring Back the Porch is a great way to get your message in front of them too. If you'd like to support our work here at Bring Back the Porch, we ask you to go to our website at bringbacktheporch.com and follow the links. Thank you for your support.
And then a couple years ago, we were approached by the government with the possibility of moving into Calgary. And we did. We now operate, it's a small operation, but has the potential to grow. We do provide services to, we have one group home type of environment with a few people that live there. And then we're starting to branch out with some community supports in Calgary as well. That also kind of has a funny story because at the time, so this would have been, I believe, 2023, the government had again approached us and said, hey, we've got this opportunity in Calgary. And it's not like there aren't other providers in Calgary. It's a big, busy place. And our leadership team all met, and we kind of, the discussion was the government wants to know where we're willing to work and where we're not willing to work. And so we went over a variety of issues, and the end result of that meeting was, okay, we'll go anywhere in southern Alberta except Calgary. And so a month later, our executive director at the time, Craig Wood, the next management meeting, he walks in and says, we're going to Calgary. And that also has been very successful though. And we're doing some good work there, and there's lots of really good talent for employees in Calgary as well. So that's been exciting.
And in 2025, you broke ground on the Hampson House down on the River Flats area, I believe. Yeah, this is an exciting project. Not quite done yet, but the Hampson House was started by with a bequeathment, basically, from the family of a former client that lived in a Redi operated group home, who had a bit of a traumatic history, and that's a little bit of a study in the history of how people with disabilities have been treated in the province of Alberta, quite frankly. There was an institution in Central Alberta called the Michener Centre that for many years it was kind of like, I'll put it indelicately, it was a place to store disabled warehouse
people.
Them.
Yeah. And really, I mean, if we're looking back at it truthfully, that's what it was. They're seen as an issue to be dealt with, and that was a place to put them.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly, right? So at a certain point, Michener got shut down, and then she was able to live in a proper home and lived out the rest of her life with the support of Redi in a Redi group home. And her family left an estate to us, and a portion, the entirety of what Redi received got basically used on a down payment and a little bit more on this particular housing project. The rest, Redi is covering ourselves, and it's really, I think we're taking an innovative approach on this one too, because the setup is pretty neat. We're trying something a little bit different, where it's a large house, And the front half of it is a group home environment, but it's a smaller one. It's really space for 3 people that need a lot of supports, 24/7 supports, and it's fully accessible, so barrier free. And then the back half of it is 3 individual suites for people that live largely independently but might need some on-demand supports. So, which actually is quite a lot of the population that we serve. The vast majority of them do live largely independently and just might need a little bit of help from time to time. So we think it's a really nice little environment for 6 people to live in. And if it's successful, we're hoping to replicate it. Maybe more of the style of house coming, maybe here, maybe in other communities as well.
And that brings us up to 2026, where you are partnering with the province of Alberta on a project called Runway.
Yeah, we're excited about Runway. Previously, we're talking about how traditionally Redi's funding and purpose has mostly been about people with developmental disabilities. But there's been some gaps for people that have barriers in the past if they need some help with getting a job. These include people that could be put into these types of categories, but they don't have to be necessarily. But say FASD or fetal alcohol spectrum, autism. That's a tough one because it's very broad, and often they don't. People with autism don't qualify for a wide variety of other supports, and again, people with acquired brain injuries. So Runway, this employment program, hits all of those and maybe some others as well. So all that's needed. It's exciting because the barrier to entry for this, for people that are looking for a job but might be experiencing barriers to employment, is pretty low. You only need a diagnosis or suspected diagnosis, so of any of those conditions. So you don't need to go through some intense evaluation, and often expensive to pay for a doctor's time to prove that you're disabled. You just need to get basically a referral, and it can be a self-referral. You get into our program, and it's really nice. They really want to find out a lot about the person up front, not past just who are you and what kind of skills do you have right now and where can we put you. It's really about what do you think you'd like to do? What do your skills look like right now? Are there any gaps between that? How do we fill some of those gaps? And what's on the market and what are employers looking for? And then we also work on the employer side to try to bridge that gap where maybe we've got an employer who says, I need a bunch of employees, right, for the seasonal job. And I'm having a tough time just getting them out of placing Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or whatever the case may be now. We can say, hey, we've got this workforce here. In some cases, maybe they don't line up with their skill set and what they can offer doesn't necessarily line up perfectly with your position description, but here's some simple modifications that we can make, and then things might line up really nice, where if they don't have to do this one particular task, but they'll do all these other ones really well, and then we can find someone else to handle that one task for you. Sometimes they call that job carving, or where it's kind of manipulating the aspects of a job to not what the employer had necessarily in their mind going in, but they find that they can get some really good employees out of it. Especially those ones that are struggling to populate their workforce, right?
So right now, this was just announced, I think, in early January. Where are we? Are we still taking people in and finding employers?
Yeah. So it started, right at the beginning of January 2026. It's a 3-year program. We're going to be intaking people about the first 18 months of it. The goal of the program, as set up by the government of Alberta, is to bring 150 people in and try to get every single one of them a job. So we believe we can come close to that. Generally, our placement rate with our employment programming is upwards of 85-90%. So, which is quite good. We believe, based on the intakes that we've had so far, and we have a lot of people in the queue because we can only really help about 10 people at a shot within a certain span of a few weeks. So we're well on pace to meet that. There's obviously a need in the community for this type of work.
How do employers get involved?
So our employers should definitely reach out. If you are an employer that is struggling to fill your positions, and you're open to trying new things and working with an intermediary like Redi on helping you find employees, just reach out. You can go to redi.ca/runway, and there's instructions on there about how to reach out to us. Just you can do it by phone, by email. The supervisor that's running the program right now, his name is Dalton, and he is eagerly waiting to talk to everybody. We have a lot of employers lined up, but certainly we can use more. As I mentioned, we have to find jobs for 150 people sometime in the next 3 years. So we'll have people ready to work for you.
Anything else you wanted to add?
Just that it is an exciting time, I think, as far as especially employment-related initiatives. One thing right now, it does seem pretty apparent with the government priorities for Alberta is on employment. And right now, it looks like looking at employment numbers. I mean, I get a monthly kind of newsletter from the government of Alberta where it tells me, labor statistics by region. And unemployment is a little high in Alberta, everywhere, and particularly in the south with Medicine Hat and Lethbridge. And but there's the opportunities to reduce that. There's lots of opportunities to put people to work. So, and I think the government of Alberta right now seems to be acknowledging that, because Runway is one program, but it looks like there's more potentially coming out in the next year or two as well. So lots of opportunities to get into the workforce if you're looking, and if you're an employer, lots of opportunities to find good employees.
Josh Hudson, the Executive Director, Redi Enterprises, thank you for the visit.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, this is Brian again, and I'd like to ask you to do a favor. We can't do this work without people like you, so if you can, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about Bring Back the Porch.